Hello class, and welcome to Notes for Standard 7.G.6, Surface Area of Prisms. The portion of the standard today that we're going to be doing is solve real-world and mathematical problems involving area and surface area of 2- and 3-dimensional objects composed of triangles, quadrilaterals, polygons, cubes, and right prisms. We only have one vocabulary word for today, which is lateral surface area, the sum of the areas of the lateral faces. And what this means is you're looking at for the all the areas of each side except for the bases. So on a prism, as we know, there are two bases. All the remaining sides are faces, so the lateral surface area would be the sum of all those areas of each of those faces. Okay, let's take a look at teacher example 1. Find the surface area of a prism. We have a standard prism here. Notice they've colored red what they want you to use as the base. And as we know on a prism it has to have two bases, so that means the side that's parallel and congruent is also going to be another base. So first things first, we need to go ahead and draw a net, which I went ahead and did right over here. As you can see, we've got two bases and four faces. So if we were looking for the lateral surface area, which sometimes it will ask you, you would just be finding the surface area of the blue, or this giant rectangle right here. Okay, but since we're looking for the entire surface area, we want to find the two bases, these two faces that are congruent, and then these two skinny faces that are congruent. So we can use length times width, or as you already know, we can also use base times height for our formula for our rectangle. So we have 2 of the red, that's why we're multiplying by 2, 2 of the blue, and then 2 of the other blue. Okay, now we can go ahead and plug our numbers in. And notice we already had the 2. The 3 and the 5, if I look at the red, it's 3 by 5 right here. 3 by 6 is going to be this one right here on the corner, this skinny one. And notice there's 2 of them because there's also this one. The last one that's a little harder is 5 by 6. We know this piece is 5, that's easy, therefore this piece is also 5. The 6 comes from this side here, which is parallel and congruent to this side here, so that's 5 by 6. Okay, now we can simply multiply. 2 times 3 we know is 6 times 5. 2 times 3 again is 6 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10 times 6. Oh, excuse me, and this was a 6. Okay, so I go ahead and do my multiplication. I end up with 30. 36, and 60. Now I can add my numbers together and I have a total of 126. Bear in mind that this answer would be incorrect because, as many of you already made the mistake of, we do need to include our units, and area is always squared. So it is 126 square inches, or we could do the inches with the little exponent of 2. So that's how we're finding our surface area of our prism, as we're just turning into a net, which means flattening it out, and then finding the area of each of those rectangles. So go ahead and do so on your own right now. Press play when you're ready to see the results. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a quick look at number 1. Hopefully you set yours up appropriately using your formulas. Notice I use base times height. I do want you to get in the habit of that more adult formula as opposed to length times width. So we have 3 different sizes of rectangles. I use 2 and 3 as the base. That'd be this bottom part and the top part. And then my next face that I used was 3 by 4, which would be this wide one right here. And finally 2 by 4, which is along the skinny one right here. I went ahead and multiplied, as you can see here, added again, and ended up with 52. Taking a look at our other rectangular prism, I can go ahead and choose my base, which in this case I chose it to be the 5 by 8, so this side piece here. Notice I chose that because I want you to remember that the base does not have to mean bottom. Okay, so this could be the base right here, 5 by 8, and then the back piece 5 by 8 there as well. Then we have another piece that's 5 by 8, this side and this side here. So notice we actually have 4 sides that are all the same, and then we have 2 sides that are 8 by 8. Now, when you did this on your own, if you made this the base, it doesn't matter. That'll also work. Now notice we're doing our multiplication here, then addition, then more addition, and we have our final answer. Taking a look at my finished answers, notice my units are squared on both those. You want to be very careful and make sure you square your units. Okay, let's take a look at teacher example 2. So your pencil should be down. Find the surface area of the prism. So notice I'm going to do exactly the same thing. The only difference is my bases are no longer rectangles. Now they are triangles. So I draw my net so that it's easy to see. My bases are in red, and notice each of my faces are a different color because they're all different sizes. We have 3 by 6 here, 5 by 6, and 4 by 6. So all of those rectangles are different. So I'm going to find the area of the base, okay, which notice in this example, the book did not set up using the formula. I do, however, always want you to use the formula just like we did in example 2. So 1/2 3 times 4. And on this next one, you're going to find each of those colors. Remember, you're just multiplying base times height, base times height, base times height. Next, we have 2 of these, so that's why we're multiplying 6 by 2. Remember, you could have also done this by saying 2 times 1/2. They would have canceled out. Times 3 times 4, you still would have gotten 12. Either way, you're going to get 6 plus 6 or 12. Add all our numbers and end up with 84. And the last part, which is a bit cut off on the bottom, is 84 square meters. So that's important to see there. Okay, let's go ahead and get to student practice. Exactly the same thing as you did before, except this time the bases are triangles. Make sure when you choose the base and the height of the triangle that they are the ones on either side of the right angle, because remember the base and the height have to be perpendicular to each other. Go ahead and press pause, press play when you're ready to see your answer. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look and see how you did. First off here, notice I have 2 times 1/2 base times height, because that's my formula for a rectangle, 1/2 base times height, and I'm multiplying by 2 because I have 2 of the bases. Now each of the rectangles are a different size, which is why I had to do them each separately. I wasn't able to, excuse me, I wasn't able to do the same thing for any of them. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and plugged my numbers in. Now take a look here. This is what I was talking about in the last problem. 2 times 1/2 cancel each other out, because this is like saying times 2 divided by 2. So I can cross those there out, and I'm left with 5 times 12, 3 times 5, 12 times 3, and 13 times 3. Add and multiply, and I've got my answer there. Taking a look at the other one, I have also done my work here. Notice it's the same setup. I have to remember to multiply 2 times 1/2 base times height. This is where it's tricky, because you have that 1/2 for a triangle. So whenever you see that triangle, you need to have that 1/2 in here. Then you can cancel it out once you've plugged your numbers in. So I just end up doing 3 times 4, 5 times 4, 4 times 3, and 4 times 4, because I'm doing each of those sides. So the 3 times 4 is this front triangle right here. 5 times 4 would be this back piece on the side. 3 times 4 would be this bottom piece, the one that's sitting on the bottom. And then 4 times 4 would be this big flat surface on the back. Now notice my answers do not have units, so I need to make sure that I include them in my final answers. And there I have it. Okay, last teacher example, this is actually the last problem that we do, is a cube, okay, or sometimes called a cuboid. Remember, it's exactly the same as a rectangular prism, because squares are rectangles. So you can think of them exactly the same way and find the area of all 6 squares, excuse me. However, since it is a cube, we know the area of each face and each base is all the same. So really all I have to do is find the area of one of those and multiply by 6, and that will give me the area of all 6 of them. So if I take a look here, my formula is S equals 6s squared. So I need to find the area, which is s squared, and then multiply by 6 to find the area of all 6. And again, remember, if you forget any of this, you can always use your regular rectangle formulas. Okay, so the side length is 12, so I'm going to do 12 squared and then multiply by 6. Remember, order of operations tells me I have to do that exponent first. I cannot multiply 6 times 12. Okay, I go ahead and I do my multiplication. 12 squared or 12 times 12 is 144. 144 times 6 is 864. And then my final answer is 864 square meters. Okay, we are not going to have a student practice for that one. You are all set. So go ahead, begin the quiz when you're all ready.